Thanks for tuning in to the FATT Show. I'm Dee.
I'm Kevin.
And the FATT Show is football all the time. We talk NFL, college football, and even high school ball. And today we have a special edition of the FATT Show. We're going to turn this over to our Eugene correspondent, Gina Moore. Kevin?
Nice. A special guest.
Special guest in studio today. This is going to be Derrick Malone Jr. So let's kick it over to them.
All right, sounds good.
Well, thank you so much, Dee and Kevin. As you said, I am Gina Moore from Eugene. I am the Eugene correspondent, and I'm here with Derrick Malone. He's former linebacker for the Oregon Ducks. Derrick, thank you so much for being here in our studio.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. And you came from California,
yes,
is that correct?
Yes, came from the Bay Area. Just flew in last night, so yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that. And so what are you doing in the Bay Area?
I just got a new job. I work for Google, actually, so I'm a technical recruiter there. So yeah, just enjoying the Bay life, Silicon Valley. Yeah, just into it a little bit, yeah.
That's great. So do you have future plans to do anything in football, or?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I definitely want to give back, you know, start some mentorship, but I'm still trying to iron out the kinks. Probably have to go back to school for a lot of different things that what I want to pursue, especially within psychology. So, but yeah, definitely want to get back into athletics eventually.
That's great, great. So, you know, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, maybe a little known fact that people don't know about you.
Yeah, so I'm from San Bernardino, California. Went to high school in Colton. I went to Colton High School, small, about 45 minutes east of LA. So I played football there, had a great time. Inland Empire has a lot of great talent that comes out of there. A little known fact about me, I love writing. Some people know it, not a lot of people know it, but I'm very, very passionate about reading and writing. Been doing it since I was about 10 years old. So that's a good fun fact about me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So you're a linebacker for Oregon.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience. Who recruited you, first of all?
Don Pelham. He recruited me when I was a sophomore, junior at Colton High School. And I played running back and safety when I was in high school. So when I went to Oregon, I thought I was gonna be a safety. And the first day of training, he was like, you're going with the linebackers. And I was a small guy too. I was probably like 180, like 186 pounds, you know, gonna be a collegiate linebacker. But that experience was probably the best decision ever. I had a lot of great wins, made a lot of great friends. Definitely probably the best decision I ever made in my life.
That's great. So, little story that I heard about you. When you were 15 years old, you went to the Rose Bowl and watched UCLA play Oregon.
Yeah.
And the reason you chose Oregon as your favorite team at 15 was because of the
cheerleaders.
Yes. Because of the cheerleaders.
Yeah. So I was about 15 years old, and I remember Dennis Dixon was hurt, and I remember I saw his jersey. It was like glittering in gold. His last name. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Then I looked to my left and seen the most gorgeous cheerleaders I've ever seen, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna go to Oregon. I'm gonna date a cheerleader, and my life is gonna just be a fairy tale. Didn't date a cheerleader while I was in Oregon, but I had a good time there.
That's great. So you had a great experience at Oregon playing,
the best experience playing there.
And now you got to play with Marcus Mariota.
I did.
And you were a senior, correct, when he won the Heisman?
Yes. We both led the same year.
Tell me about that experience. Like, what was it like with the media surrounding Oregon, you know, first of all, you know, and then Marcus Mariota?
Yeah, we had a lot of media attention. We really did, but I think our coaching staff really helped us like hone in and really focus on our task, and that was to win football games. You know, take it every day at a time, winning the day, you know, going to practice, going to film. So we really didn't get distracted by those outside forces. The media was there, but we really weren't shaken by it by any means. And Marcus definitely wasn't at all. He had an extraordinary senior year as well. But yeah, we handled it pretty well.
That's great. So, you know, you did a story called Breaking Through Depression. And in that you described your experience personally with having depression.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, and about, you know, what was the catalyst for you to come out and speak about that? Yeah,
I feel like depression is an issue that has a big stigma with it, especially within athletics. You know, being an athlete, you have to be dominant. You have to, you know, have a certain type of mindset and fearlessness to you. You don't want to seem weak. And I felt like that's kind of wrong. Like, we are strong, we are dominant, but everyone has battles and issues that they, you know, struggle with each and every day. And I just wanted people to know, because I've had people say, you play for Oregon, you had this great life, you did this and that. There's no way you could have, many downs, but I battled, mental, health issues. I had depression, I had anxiety at times. So I just really want to be that catalyst. I really want to be that voice and let it know that it's okay. I want it to be normal, be talked about, because the only way things could be solved is if you talk about them and bring them to light. So I just really want to just help kids, help any athlete, just impact one person if I can, because it's an issue that definitely needs light to be shined upon it.
It does, and I think that it does have some sort of stigma to it, especially as an athlete, especially a football player. You guys are kind of seen as being rough and tumble, and not letting a lot affect you. You get injured and you go play, and that kind of thing. So coming out with depression, what have people said about that? How has the response been? It's
been amazing. I've had a lot of great responses, a lot of emails, a lot of text messages. I've done talks, with kids or, different athletic programs. And it's been great. A lot of people were saying, like, I needed to hear this. Because you went and you got helped for, what you were battling, I feel like I can do it too. So all the responses have been great, and I feel like I'm just starting out being this catalyst, and hopefully I get more people to speak out, because I'm not the only one who battles this. A lot of people do. It's just not really talked about, but the responses have been phenomenal so far.
And were you nervous, at first, maybe talking about it?
I was nervous 100%. I can't believe I did it. It was when I actually hit rock bottom in life, when I was like, I just need to just get it out, and I wrote a blog about it, and then that's when I kind of knew that this is something I need to do. I need to continue to do, and I feel like that's the purpose in my life, is to shed light on that and try to just help people in any way that I can, especially within athletics, because that's where my passion does lie. But
Yeah, that's great. So you also have written a couple of books. One of them is Nostalgic Seasons, which I've read. Your poetry, especially, it has a lot of meaning. It has a lot of substance to it. Do you feel like that's helped you with your depression? Is that kind of how you get out your emotions, and has that helped, I guess?
It helps a lot. With it? At first, if you would ask me when I was younger, I'm like, no, it's just what I just do, but it really does help. What I tell people with writing, there's no limitations. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You can put whatever you want on paper. You can just do whatever. So if I'm feeling down, I could write about it, and I can express it. And if I post it on one of my blogs or on social media, 9 times out of 10 people are responsive to it because they can relate to it, which lets me know that I'm not alone as well. Right. So it's definitely helped me in a lot of ways to not really mask my issues or anything like that, but it's to just express it, get it out, get it on paper, and you can also analyze it and be like, okay, that's why I was feeling that way, and then make the steps to feel better.
And so, do you still battle depression? I mean, is that something that you think that you will battle?
I think so. I think I don't think it could ever disappear. It's just how you cope with it. Different things come into your life, you're gonna feel down, but it's like, I can't stay in the house. I can't, exclude myself from people. I have to get outdoors. I can't sleep in bed all day. I have to stay mobile. I have to engage with people. I have to do these things to cope with this, because I don't want to be drowned by, those down moments. So I think I'll always have those issues, but being able to cope with it, you bounce back a lot quicker. Knowing why you feel certain ways, knowing what's the cause of it, and you bounce back a lot quicker.
And now, I know in your story, you talked about going and seeing a counselor. Is that something that you're still doing? Would you recommend that for people?
Yes.
What was your experience like?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was scary at first, because you're like, I don't know this person. They don't know me. Are they going to judge me? Are they ever going to tell anybody what I'm telling them? So I was very skeptical at first, and so I wasn't seeing the results because I was holding back. I wasn't being able to be honest with myself, and I wasn't being able to be honest with my therapist. So once I was like, you know what, I'm just going to lay it all out there. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be transparent. That's when my life started to transform and, be better. So I had a great experience. He actually texted me today, seeing how I was doing. I ran into him, the one I seen in college. I ran into him a couple months ago, and he was like, there's this glow about you. And that was just the best thing. Someone who knows your deepest, darkest secrets, knows your struggles, to say like, there's a certain glow about you, which was amazing. So if I can voice that to anybody, I think getting help is a very beneficial thing in self-growth.
So that was actually my next question is, what advice do you have for people that might be battling this, especially athletes, that might think that they're, above and beyond, talking about this disease or, being afraid of how people will react?
Yeah, and in my opinion, the mind is probably the most important muscle that you can have. So just like if you strain, your hamstring, you're gonna get treatment for it. So if you're not mentally all there, you're gonna suffer in a lot of different areas from, in the classroom to on the field to your relationships with your family to maybe a girlfriend or a boyfriend. But I think that you have to get help. You have to, talk about these things. That's the only way you're gonna feel better. The only way is by getting help and getting these emotions out there, getting to the root of the problem, and ultimately learn how to cope with it. So that would be my biggest, advice is to definitely go out, speak your truth, because what you're feeling is always valid. The stigma is there, but we'll break barriers.
Right.
Now it's being talked about more and more, and it's being shed more light on it. I think we'll break barriers and people will be more open to discuss those things.
Well, and you're a stepping stone to that, which is great that you came out with this, amazing story, and that people can relate to you, and that they can see that you did it and people were okay.
Yeah.
That you weren't ridiculed for coming out with depression. It's a common thing that people have.
Yeah, it's a lot more common than a lot of people will think. It's a lot. I had no idea. I thought I was alone, and I think that's how depression is. It kind of messes your mind like that. Like you're alone. No one understands you. No one wants to understand you. But people are all battling something, in their life, and a lot of people are affected by depression or anxiety. So you'll be surprised by how many people, the type of people. Success doesn't really equate strength sometimes. So. I think it's really a thing that people need to have more open discussions about.
I agree. And I think that, and I'm sure you've had this experience, with coming out with that, that you have had people say, oh, I suffer from that. It's when you share something like that, when you feel alone, I think it's helpful because other people will let you know that they struggle with the same thing.
Exactly. And that could be your support group. Someone can say, I struggle with that too. And you're like, wow, I didn't know that. But now that you know that they struggle with that, you could kind of see them down one day or not really themselves. You're like, hey, how are you? You want to get a cup of coffee? You want to get a drink or something? And they're like, oh, yeah. And you could have, got them out of that dark place just by having that partner, So I think there's a lot of benefits of having that open discussion.
So Derrick, I'm reading from this book, Right from the Heart, which you're a contributor on.
Yes.
And it states that, this is true mostly because you can't help someone who doesn't think they need it.
Yeah.
So you never know who needs help and who doesn't. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah,
you never know who needs help. That's why you might just have to be that person to give that lending hand. Just checking in on someone. You need to have that support group. I know during my time at Oregon, I had a lot of people who really helped me hold it together. I had my best friend Tony Washington, Rodney Hardrick. Those were core guys on my everyday, holding me accountable, keeping me strong, keeping me mentally strong. Don Pello, my position coach, was great. Helfrich, he saw me and stopped me plenty of times and just had conversations with me. Everyone in the athletic treatment staff, they were just huge. The reason why I even went out and got help is because they seen something. I was injured. I had a lot of shoulder problems, and they seen that I was kind of struggling, and they said you should might to talk to someone about this, and they cared enough about me to make sure that I was strong mentally. So I just think that you always need to have that support group, and you also need to always be that person willing to extend a hand if someone is struggling. I know if anyone is struggling, just for me personally, anyone could reach out to me. I've been through a lot of stuff. I've experienced a lot of stuff. If anyone needs help, they can reach out to me. On Twitter, I'm Poetic Soul 2_. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, needs advice, needs help, which people do, they do direct message me sometimes or email me, asking for advice about a variety of subjects, and I'm more than willing because I think that's what my life purpose is to do, is to be that lending hand and help whoever I can. Yeah,
and that's great because I think, if there is somebody that's watching this, they need that support.
Yeah.
They need to know that there's hope. And you can reach out to Derrick. He's been through it. He understands. You you were in the NFL.
Yeah.
You made the NFL.
Yeah.
You were with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I had that opportunity. I did have that opportunity for a brief second, but I got hurt and things didn't go that way. I had a great college career. I was able to get invited to play for the Atlanta Falcons. I got hurt again, and things didn't work out. But it's okay because I think everything happened for a reason. I think this, going through those different adversities made me the person that I am today, and maybe being able to communicate that I want to help people. I think that's my bigger purpose. My bigger cause is to really help people and strive to, especially in the mental health aspect of things. So I think everything happened for a reason.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think it's helpful for people that may be struggling to talk to somebody who's been through it, who understands. There is hope.
Yeah, there's always hope. There's always a silver lining, and I've been there. So I could talk to, if anyone needs to reach out to me, anyone out there who's listening to this interview, I'll be more than happy to help anyone because I definitely think that's my purpose in this world.
That's great. Thank you. So let's talk some Oregon football.
Okay.
So with Mark Helfrich out and Willie Taggart in, there's been a whole lot of changes at Oregon.
Yeah, a whole lot.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's indifferent. It's indifferent. I love the University of Oregon more than anything. It's very, very dear to my heart. So, it was a family. All those coaches were there for 20, 30 plus years. We were a family, definitely a family. So when they made the decision to let everyone go, it did hurt. It did hurt. I still keep in contact with, some of those coaches and, some people on the staff. So it did hurt because it's family. So things are different. But I've had the opportunity to still go back and meet the new coaching staff and see what, their mindset, their philosophy, and, the players there, they love them. I've had conversations with a few coaches and I am on board. I love them. They really have a big focus on bringing the community around. They want all the alumni to come around the program. They really care about the team. They really care about the boys. They really care about the right things, education, treat people with respect. So I think, we'll be back on top in the next 3 years. But, Tiger, he didn't have anything to do with, Hell's departure. So I feel like, us as a community, as fans, have to, at least give him a chance because he had to bring in his own guys to try to, turn some things around. But, I still feel indifferent, because I had a great experience there and I love all the coaches that helped me become a man. But I'm still hopeful for the future because I'll live and die Oregon football.
So what coaches are you still in contact with?
Don Pelham, definitely. He has been a huge role model for me in more ways than I could ever imagine. So I think more so just him. I still need to reach out to a few of the other coaches. Still got to find the right words to say, but because they're all going to different schools and doing their own thing. But Don Pelham, he's definitely been a huge role model for me that I keep in contact with.
That's great. Now, just curious, because you are on social media, what do you think about these new coaches and they're tweeting and they're on Instagram doing all of talking about Pepsi and different things? What do you think about that?
I don't know. Like I said, again, I feel indifferent. I came from the Chip Kelly days, so we keep everything in-house and, we're not big on social media. I don't think he wanted anyone on social media. I got in trouble for being on social media a couple of times. So it's very, indifferent. But, they're doing something right. They have a great recruiting class coming in. So they're doing, so he's being able to relate to more people. So I think there's a method to the madness. What I think is not always right, but he has something special going on right now.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. So Derrick, tell me a little bit more about Don Pelham and the influence that he had in your life. He recruited you. So what was that experience with him like?
It was great. It was great. He was really like the person I definitely looked up to. When I went in as a freshman, we did kind of bump heads a little bit because he was teaching us so much about life for my brain, I was so immature. I wasn't able to really grasp it and understand what he was really trying to teach us. Every single day before every meeting, he'll teach us about life, about perspective, about mentality, about mental health, and about just mental strength. And I'm really grateful for it now that I'm older and I've been through more stuff to understand what he was doing, building us up to become great men and men of Oregon at that. yeah, so I credit a lot of my growth definitely to the things that he's taught us. You know, he wanted us to excel in the classroom, on the football field, definitely, but more so just as a man. He wanted us to be great fathers, great sons, great husbands someday. So yeah, I credit a lot of my growth to him.
That's great. That's great. So I want to talk to you about something else.
Okay.
Ohio State,
Yeah.
national championship.
Yeah,
You guys lost.
we did.
Ohio State was celebrating,
Yeah,
and everybody was running off the field, all the Oregon players.
yeah.
You saw that, got some of the underclassmen, and went to them to have them go shake Ohio State's hand.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What was your mindset? What were you thinking doing that?
It was hard. You know, we had a great season. You know, we had a great run, but we lost. We lost a football game. You know, and football is games of wins and losses. But we lost. But whether you win a game or you lose a game, you do it like a man. You take it like a man, and you do it with grace. You do it with respect. That was your opponent. They played very hard and they came out, victorious, but you still show them the respect and the dignity. You look them in the eye and say, great fight, congratulations. And then you go about your way. We all felt that pain. The people who walked off the field, they weren't as more hurt than I was. I was just as hurt. I was crying in the locker room after too, but, I felt like my duty as, a man with character is I'm going to look someone in their eye and say, you were a great competitor. Congratulations. You guys deserved it. Obviously, they won that day. And, and then go on about your life. But I think it's a big thing on, character and respect and integrity that we all have been ingrained with, men of Oregon. We all were ingrained that. So I thought that specific moment, we weren't really demonstrating that. But I just had to just reinforce it a little bit.
So did you feel like you were being a mentor as well to the younger classmates, the other players?
Yeah, they're younger, so sometimes they don't understand some of the certain things that we've been through. So I think I tried to take that more mentorship approach to it. So hopefully it worked a little bit. Hopefully they learned a thing or two.
I'm sure they did. That was great. I think that shows your character. So
thank you.
I think that was a great thing to do.
I appreciate it.
So again, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, glad.
So appreciate having you here in the studio. And I am Gina Moore, the Eugene correspondent for the FATT Show, here with Derrick Malone Jr., former linebacker for the Oregon Ducks.